Welcome to the Masterfesto podcast. Get ready to be inspired as you get all the tools and secrets on how to master your mind by the mental master herself. She's a speaker, inspirational coach, and author. Here's your host, Isabel Elias, the Queen of Inspiration.
Welcome to my podcast, Mastering Your Mind. The episodes on Mastering Your Mind are based on my teachings. In this episode, I'm working with inner child healing. Just in case you're wondering if I'm qualified to help you with inner child healing, let me share with you why I am the perfect person to help you. Before I completed my inner child training course, I had to go through my own inner child healing. It was not easy. My childhood has lots of traumatic experiences. Today, my inner child is whole and complete, feeling loved and secure. On January 7, 2012, I completed my training and was certified to work with clients on healing the inner child. I found that almost everyone's issues and problems stemmed from childhood. I then started to gather data and went deeper into inner child work to create workshops on healing the inner child. It took me 2 years of research to write my own program. Some of the experts I used in my research are John Bradshaw, Erik Erikson, Alice Miller, Jean Piaget, and Carl Jung. Also, my background as an elementary teacher and as an at-risk counselor in middle school, and my coaching background and raising 4 kids as a single parent has given me the privilege and expertise to be your guide, your teacher in this inner child healing episode. In my many years of working with clients on inner child healing, I witnessed some amazing results, breakthroughs in relationships, completing childhood issues and traumas, giving up blaming themselves and others. Forgiveness was a big one, and more. My life purpose is about making a difference, and this is how I can live my purpose. Here's what you can expect from the episodes on Mastering Your Mind. The episodes will be from 15 to 30 minutes weekly on Tuesday. And during these episodes, I'm going to give you all I've got. And if you get one takeaway, one golden nugget from my episode, I will be happy. I recommend that you listen once and then listen a second and even a third time so you can take notes and answer the questions and reflections. And I would greatly appreciate if you would support the show. If you're wondering if this episode is right for you, ask yourself, are you sad, empty, or confused a lot of the time? Are you fueled with chronic energy? Do you lack intimacy? Does commitment scare you? Do you have unresolved issues with your family? Were you abused or left as a child? Did you experience trauma in your childhood? Do you have or have you had any of the following addictions, like overeating, overdrinking, or overdrugging? And if you have, what are you doing about your addictions? And what have you done about your addictions in the past? Are you successful in controlling or getting rid of your addictions? Do you have trouble trusting your ability to get your needs met? And do you believe that you must find someone to meet your needs? And do you feel that you must be in control most of the time? And what is it like for you to not have control? Now, if you answered yes to any of these questions, this is a perfect episode for you. Now, this probably includes everyone, or at least 99% of the people. If it's not you, then you are probably in denial. Okay, if you're still listening, let's get to work. As you continue listening, you might find yourself feeling vulnerable. Your vulnerability will make a difference in getting what there is to get for you. Now, everyone is different, but each person will get their own value. I'm offering you personal transformation. Don't miss this opportunity. How familiar are you with the term inner child? If not at all, no worries. You will become very familiar after our work. The inner child is your emotional self. This is really good here, a golden nugget here. The inner child is your emotional self. It is where our feelings live. The inner child always shows up in our adult life, responding to traumas and issues from childhood, acting out, throwing tantrums, being right. The inner child also shows up in our adult life through creativity and discovery and play and intimacy, enthusiasm, love, passion, intuition, belief, and curiosity. Almost all of our emotional issues come from earlier experience in childhood. And you see, the inner child still lives in the subconscious mind. It's not going away. It's always running in the background, sometimes even in the foreground, wanting all your attention. If you work with chakra energy, the inner child is in the Sacral Chakra, just below the navel. This is your emotional chakra. If you don't heal this chakra, you will be run by your emotions. Ooh, it's not pretty for people in your life. Now, when fear, sadness, and anger are repressed, our ability to feel excitement, interest, and curiosity is also shut down. Those painful issues or experiences will show up in adult life as problematic communications, show up as anger issues, dysfunctional relationships, anxiety, neurosis, addictions, and or codependency. According to Carl Jung, neurosis is always a substitute for legitimate suffering. Now, you may not even be aware that these self-defeating patterns exist or that they are causing problems in your life. This form of denial is set in place in order to protect the child you once were, but it is keeping you from a life of peace and happiness. I'm going to say that again. This is really important. Get this. This form of denial is set in place in order to protect the child you once were, but it is keeping you from a life of peace and happiness. Children are needy by nature, not by choice. They are needy by nature. They need their parents all the time, 24/7. Every child needs unconditional love from the parents, and the love must be counted on 24/7, no matter what. And if the child feels that the unconditional love is not met, the hurt child is damaged. And as an adult, the inner child craves love and attention all the time, and it's never enough. That inner child can drive others crazy with their neediness. If the inner child is not healed, it will run your life. Let's look at how children view life. Everything is a fantasy. Children rely on magic. Children often think they're adopted, part of the fantasy that they live in. They believe that parents are mind readers. So when a parent says, "I know what you're thinking," the child really believes that the parent can actually read their mind. Children don't question or judge. And everything is literal. Some things taught to children by memory are left to interpretation to the child, such as, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name." They think that the Father in heaven is called Harold. And if a child is Spanish speaking and hears the song, "Oh, say, can you see?" they think that you're saying, "Jose, can you see?" Children are also egocentric. They think and feel that they can change reality with simple words and gestures like super special powers. Now, how wounded is your inner child? Be honest. Don't rationalize. Don't get into denial. Usually, we tend to tell ourselves half-truths because it's too difficult to dig inside and be vulnerable. We'll even lie to ourselves to keep face. Be open to the possibility of having breakthroughs, epiphanies, and insights. You see, we must listen and acknowledge our inner child. If we refuse to listen and acknowledge our inner child, we live our lives as victims with unresolved emotional traumas, fueling chronic anxieties, confusion, emptiness, and unhappiness. It will contaminate our adult life. The wounds of the inner child continue to affect our adult life. Those painful experiences in childhood were too overwhelming for the young child to be processed, so they got stored in the subconscious mind. Throughout this healing episode, you will go through some or all of these emotions: guilt, confusion, shock, depression, anger, hurt, fear, remorse, shame, loneliness. Now, this is normal. Just allow yourself to experience your experience. Give yourself permission and freedom. It's time to come face to face with those childhood issues and trust the process. Trust yourself. Your inner child helped you get here. You survived. Thank and acknowledge your inner child. Now, in the previous episode, you learned that as a child, you lived in the subconscious mind, seeking pleasure and avoiding pain and taking in many experiences, both good and bad. If the experiences are known to the subconscious, it is pleasure. Therefore, if you are loved as a child, your subconscious sees this as pleasure. Unfortunately, if you are abused as a child, the subconscious mind sees this as pleasure because it is known to the subconscious. The therapist Carl Rogers said, quote, "Whatever is most personal is most general." The questions and reflections that I'm about to present to you will bring out those thoughts and feelings that have been buried for a really long time, and you can't heal what you don't feel. However mature we think we are stuck in those inner child conversations, and it shows up as negative self-talk. During our childhood, we made decisions about life. Those decisions show up today as, no one really cares, or I have to do it on my own, or I'm not being heard, or I'm not good enough. A part of us got stuck with a negative conviction. What are some of those negative self-talk conversations you have? Think about that. Maybe it's, I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm too fat or ugly or dumb. My most recent negative self-talk is, I don't have enough time. Now I'm giving this up and I'm replacing it with, there's plenty of time and I use my time wisely, efficiently, and productively. Yes. It seems that we have sentenced ourselves to a life of pain. According to Alice Miller, an expert in the field, says, quote, "Problems cannot be solved with words, but only through reliving of early fears, sadness, and anger." I'll say that again. Quote, "Problems cannot be solved with words, but only through a reliving of early fear, sadness, and anger." Now, this is my story. Sit back, my story. So, picture me I'm a cute and curious and fun 6-year-old feeling happy and free. My parents are divorced. I live with my mom, who is now a single parent raising 2 kids, me and my brother. Now, she's young and very beautiful, so she has lots of suitors. One night, one of these men comes into my room and begins to touch me inappropriately. This continues, and I know that it's not good. I'm confused, and I think it must be my fault. Then the time comes. I must tell my mom. Now she's having a party. Lots of people are there having a good time, dancing and drinking and talking, including my molester. I run downstairs and I shout out, "That man is touching my privates!" Ooh, there's a shift in the room. It sure did get quiet, and everyone is looking at me. Now I'm embarrassed. My mother tells everyone to leave, including her molester friend, and I feel safe and loved. Now I'm a happy child again, free and happy. Healing your inner child is a process of going back through your stages of life and finishing all the unfinished business, all those unmet needs that were not met, and all those emotions that needed to be expressed and were never expressed. You see, you can't heal what you don't feel. Your inner child has a voice. Listen to your inner child without judgment or shame. What does your inner child want to say to you? Does your inner child feel abandoned, neglected, fearful, or disconnected? If so, what can you do to give love, comfort, and support? The inner child may feel abandoned due to divorce, adoption, or left to be raised by someone other than the birth parents, or the parents were just too busy working, and this inner child is starving for attention. Give this inner child love, lots of love. I was called Little Betty as a child, and I have a picture of Little Betty on my bookshelf to remind me to say, "I love you, and I will never leave you." This is healing. Try it. If you were left alone too many times with babysitters, or there were too many siblings and not enough time for you, your inner child doesn't believe it is lovable or worthy, doesn't know how to love, and is depressed most of the time, wanting to hide. This inner child also needs lots of love and attention. Now, were you spoiled as a child and did not have enough direction or limits? Were raised by very young parents, or maybe you were the last sibling? Were you given whatever you wanted and would throw tantrums if you didn't get what you wanted? The inner child has feelings of aggressiveness and continues to have tantrums as an adult. This inner child needs to learn loving kindness and self-control and a healthy modeling of emotions. Also, when the family is filled with violence, alcoholism, emotional or physical abuse, the child is wounded and doesn't have the ability to generate self-esteem. The child loses a sense of responsibility, believing that their problems are always someone else's fault. You need to be a role model of discipline for your out-of-control inner child, or you will live a life of anger and aggression. Teach your inner child by example. Let your inner child know the difference between expressing feelings and acting out feelings. Teach your inner child to delay gratification and to take responsibility and face the consequences, and know that big expectations can lead to big disappointments. Teach your child to love and respect others, and to understand that problems are part of growing and not a personal rainstorm. And teach your child that it's important to be nice to people who serve you. Always choose your words carefully so that you don't hurt or damage another person. Apologize. Teach your child to say, I'm sorry. And stop being sarcastic to others. Let your child know that your child has lost friends because of this attitude. No more sarcasm. Don't be mean to people. Be nice. Now, this shows up later when adults do not take responsibility. They say, it isn't fair. Why me? What's wrong with me? They believe that it is always a personal rainstorm. According to Marion Woodman, quote, our inner child has to be disciplined in order to release its tremendous spiritual power. Say that again. This is a golden nugget. Our inner child has to be disciplined in order to release its tremendous spiritual power. Ooh, if you practice this, your life will take on a major change. Good healing process. Now, did you feel different from other children and possibly overly criticized? As an adult, you are fearful and anxious and have panic attacks. This inner child needs lots of encouragement and lots of positive affirmations. Check out my book on Master Festo affirmations and my website, masterfesto.com. You'll want to carry this book with you and read the affirmations at every given moment. Were you nurtured and held as a child? Did you experience being loved as an infant by your primary caretaker? If not, your inner child never learned to be close and now lacks intimacy and has trust issues. This inner child needs to feel and have and experience lots of love and feeling safe. Do everything you need to do to feel safe. The true self, the true inner self, is naturally playful, fun, and spontaneous. As adults, we may have forgotten how to do this, how to be free without guilt, and always thinking we should be doing something important or worthwhile. Learn to play, to laugh, to dance, to be silly. Yay! Thank you so much for listening. I hope that I was able to help you with your inner child healing. Please don't give up. There's more in the next episode. As your inner child healing continues, you will be in a place of happiness, peace, and lots of self-love. Keep being your own role model for healing. I believe in you. Believe in me. We are a team. And I look forward to our next episode on Mastering Your Mind. Visit my website, masterfesto.com, and check out my books.
From author Isabel Elias comes the book Master Festo, The Joy of Mastery, available on Amazon. This must-read book offers you the possibility to get on a journey of mastery, a life journey with no finish line, a journey where joy is the foundation. Many have mastered something in life, but few people experience joy in their mastery. Mastery without joy can be hard and sometimes unfulfilling. Mastery with joy is done with grace and ease. Master Festo, The Joy of Mastery, is a blueprint to create your own mastery and bring joy to that mastery. You will work on mastering areas of your life that are most important: self-awareness, physical health, emotional health, mental well-being, spirituality, and being of service. You will read the stories of ordinary people expressing their extraordinary accomplishments. You will not be able to put this book down, and you will want to read it several times. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Master Festo, The Joy of Mastery, from author Isabel Elias, available in Kindle and paperback.
And if you want to send me a personal message, drop me an email, isabel@masterfesto.com. Follow me on Facebook, Isabel Elias Author, and Events by Isabel. And please like and comment on your takeaway from this episode. I love to read your comments. Help me spread the word. Ask at least 3 of your friends to listen to my podcast and subscribe. Also, scroll down to the link, support the show. Thank you so much for your support. Until next week, I leave you with the words of Dave Ramsey. To fall in love with yourself is the first secret to happiness. And the healing words of Master Festo. Feed your mind with pure, organic thoughts to create a better version of yourself and be a role model for love, generosity, and healing. People are counting on you. Your inner child is waiting for you to take over. Healing is freedom.